Welcome to AI for You, the go-to podcast for higher ed professionals looking to integrate AI into their daily work. I'm your host, Brian Piper, the Director of Content Strategy and Assessment at the University of Rochester. Join me every other Thursday for practical uses of AI within higher education communications, marketing, and student engagement. We'll focus on ways to quickly integrate AI into your teams to increase your efficiency and effectiveness and help you optimize your workflows and processes. I'll interview experts and feature relevant use cases with the goal that every episode gives you at least one thing you can take away and start leveraging in your job today. AI for You is a part of the Enrollify network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher education professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com. Welcome to AI for You. We are coming to you live from the Engage Summit 2025, and we are joined today with Michele Ehrhart from University of Memphis. And Michele, can you tell me a little bit about how you're using AI at the university?
Absolutely. So thank you for having me, first of all. It's very nice to be here. We use AI, like most universities, on all of the chatbots and the things that we do from an advertising perspective, responsive ads. I mean, we're using AI. We've been using AI without even maybe realizing we were. And so I think the part that I've been trying to do is shine the light for the university to say, here, you're already adopting it without maybe knowing it. Let's not be so terrified of it, and let's embrace it and maybe dig a little deeper and see if we can't learn more about it.
So it's interesting in higher ed, a lot of institutions are very hesitant around using AI. What do you think are the biggest challenges that universities face when it comes to starting with AI?
So I feel that everything will go smoother and better if you start at the leadership level. And we're very fortunate. We have a president who's been with us for about 3 years, and he's got a background in technology and was doing AI research and work before it was really popular and cool. So he comes in with an open mind of embracing it. We also have a provost who's open to that as well. So where I feel like we're doing a really good job at the university is that we're combining those two. You've got knowledge, so you've got a leader who's not intimidated by it. And then you have an educator who wants our students to have access, and our faculty to have access to their information to help them adapt in this environment. So it's kind of a nice combo. Not every university is going to have that. My advice would be lean into the education side of it. You know, we had to embrace social media when it happened. Everyone thought it was a fad. It took the world by storm. Now we don't do anything the way we used to. We don't communicate the way we used to. We don't advertise the way we used to. All of it's different. And this is AI is going to take it farther than the next level, beyond even our imagination.
So what was your AI journey like? Were you an early adopter? Did you immediately see the capabilities, potential, or were you initially thinking that it might be overhyped? Where did you come into this technology?
Without sharing my age, I am a card-carrying member of the Gen X generation. So you think about what I've seen in my lifetime as a communicator, which is what I always wanted to do. It's what I went to college for. We saw the internet happen, email happened, social media happened. We lived through a pandemic, and AI has been sprinkled throughout that. Then in 2022 in ChatGPT took the world by storm. I become early adopters because I know that it is going to impact the world in which I live in, but also the job I do. And that is my message to all communicators: is you don't get in front of the trends and the fads, and even if they don't get any traction, you have to know about them. You have to know about them in order to be able to use them, but you also have to know about them maybe to avoid them. So for me, I think AI is fantastic. I think about, I spent the majority of my career doing work in crisis communications and just some of the elements that it helps you do faster. Because when I think about a crisis situation as the great equalizer. Doesn't matter who you are, what company you are, what brand you are. If it happens to you, it happens to you. And things move so quickly. AI allows us to do things faster when we're already distracted. So, think about researching and pulling together holding statements or creating statements. It's easier to edit in that environment than it is to create. So, if you haven't done the homework in advance, which I preach that you should, but if you don't, AI is your friend in that situation. It's not going to think for you, but it's going to do a lot of the legwork for you.
So you're speaking at this conference about AI and crisis comms, and a lot of people think that crisis comms is an area that you should not have AI use. Obviously, you're not going to use AI to write all of your crisis responses. How do you integrate AI into your crisis communications in a way that is ethical and responsible?
Question we could unpack for a while, but I'll try to give you the 50,000-foot level. I use AI a lot in crisis communications, and I heard earlier one of the keynote speakers talking about taking a message and running it through AI and allowing it to give you the output and reaction to it. If you are in the middle of something and it feels controversial, before you test that in social media, maybe you should test it in AI and see what comes out at the back end. Your intentions may be good, but the execution may not come out quite the way you want. So looking for sentiment. There's so many tools out there now that help us stay ahead of a crisis. When you're in a crisis, you can quickly adapt your message if it's not going the way you intended, if you're paying attention, if you're using these tools.
Yeah, I think AI has such potential from a persona management capability where it can give you a reaction. It can do some predictive modeling about how people are going to react to messaging that you put out. I think that's crucial for crisis communications because a lot of times there's no way you can know until it's too late. Until you know. So where do you see AI going in the next few years? And how do you think that's going to impact higher ed specifically?
I don't think we know. I don't think there's an expert in AI right now. I think we're all in it together. I can't even imagine where it's going to go, which means that it can go anywhere. I'm embracing it because it's here to stay. I do have some reservations. I mean, I'm human. I don't want it to take over, certainly. But I do think one of the most important parts about utilizing whatever the output of AI is that it goes through a human filter before you ever distribute it. Because that empathy that we have as human beings is often lost in AI. I mean, if you think about one of the speakers earlier talked about, if you just lift and shift the data that you have and you put it into AI, garbage in, garbage out. If the data that you're putting in isn't good, and AI is just taking the information that we're putting out into the world, we have to continue to put out good information for AI to really be effective. I do think it's going to change astronomically in a very short period of time. If you think about what happened from 2022 to today, 2025, we couldn't have predicted that it would go this quickly or the magnitude at which it's going. And so I don't think we can predict it. I just think we need to embrace it, get on the train because it's leaving and you don't want to be left behind.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. We have seen some institutions adapting and adopting and trying to figure out how to integrate it. I think the key to figuring out the best ways to make the most out of this technology is to keep open lines of communication and to hear how other people are integrating it. What are some of the more innovative or interesting uses that you've seen for AI, either in higher ed or outside of higher ed?
Well, I'm going to say this. I haven't been in higher ed for very long, about a year and a half. And I came from the corporate side of the world. And what I have found in higher ed is that the doors and windows are open. Everyone's willing to take your phone call, to tell you whatever they know and share information. And that's been very refreshing. So there have been a lot of conversations that I've had with other groups about how are you using AI and sharing those opportunities. But I do think that AI in general gives us an opportunity to go faster in whatever it is we are planning, and it gets us there quicker. But I don't want us to just think that we can use AI by itself. And that's what I heard earlier this morning. And one of the things I found so fascinating with what Element 451 was talking about was this continuation of content. So to me, that's fascinating. I think there are starts and stops and bits of AI all over university, and certainly in our university. But they were talking about weight, and it's this idea of all of it talking together. So it's on a continuum. Back in the day, you think about customer service and you call in to an 800 number to get someone to answer your question, and you get frustrated if they didn't know that you called 3 days before for the same situation. What AI is going to do for us is going to enhance our ability to serve our students, our customers, our constituents in a way that we can't even imagine. Just to pull those things together, to me, is the most fascinating thing I've seen so far. And of good grief, I'm only in the first half of the day here. So I don't know if I attend it.
It's fantastic. One of the questions I always ask everybody is, what AI use case is most helpful to you in your job?
So my team and I use a lot of the obvious ones, ChatGPT, Copilot, and oftentimes we're using multiple to see what the output is for each. I don't think that makes me any different than anyone else, but I would say that's the most frequent use of it. And then there are those things that we talked about when I first answered one of your questions about we're using AI without even knowing it. We use things like LeapRack and Meltwater and Brandwatch and all of these things that we just think about as platforms that are giving us information. It's all AI algorithms that are helping us know those things. And I can't imagine doing my job without those tools. And they really haven't been around that long. So if you think about it, that early adoption, whether you realize you've adopted it or not, is what's going to just continue to make us sharpen our pencils as we go.
Absolutely. Well, I can't thank you enough for spending some time and coming on and sharing your insights with us and the audience. If people want to reach out and contact you, connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, I'm just going to do a shameless plug for a new book that I am launching. It's called Crisis Compass, and it's about how to communicate when it matters most. But my website launched. It's micheleehrhart.com, MicheleEhrhart.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Michele. Appreciate your time again. Thank you for listening to another episode of AI for You. I hope you found at least one useful thing you can take away and start adding to your workflows and processes today. Remember, the key to making the most of AI is to keep experimenting, keep learning, and of course, keep creating. AI for You is a part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to become a better higher ed professional. Our shows help higher ed professionals find their next big idea and feature a selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Artis Kadu, Day Kibbles, Shane Baglini, and so many other of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.